Let me ask you, Dr. Blum, you do not support this legislation, but I understand that you are equally passionate about making sure that our kids are not the next customers. How do we address the kids? If this isn't the answer, what is the answer from the children's perspective?
Thank you, Senator. I think that the Master Settlement Agreement had a hope, as Ms. Shames alluded to, that we would have had the resources to provide major multimedia counter-advertising campaigns, such as Senator Kennedy proposed years ago when I testified before this committee. It's a shame that that money has been squandered and misused. So I also would see the possibility of perhaps a separate agency. But the reason why I oppose this bill is that literally from day one, if this bill is enacted, you would have the product that kills more people than all other drugs, food, medications, whatever it else is that the FDA regulates combined, and that product would be dithered with and torqued with and regulated, when the elephant in the room would be Marlboro would be sitting there doing its damage every day. I think that it makes no sense whatsoever. It's good to talk about children, but I think that it's the definition of infinity if we're going to try to regulate every single brand that comes out. They're going to come up with everything in the world to keep us on our toes, to constantly keep regulating. I think that the reason that we need to be here is to consider how do we reduce demand for this product, not how we regulate the product.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Add, Senator, we did research about 10 years ago looking at the internal documents on the reformulation of Camel. At the time, Camel was smoked by old men. R.J. Reynolds intentionally affected the nicotine level. They added more flavorants to make it more sugar-like, and they also affected the smoothness. And they did rankings against Marlboro cigarettes. This is among 18-year-olds, but in fact, and so what they did is they affect the smoothness of the product, they affected the nicotine yield, they added sugars, so you can make it easier for a youngster to inhale. Now, the whole public health community is worrying about cartoon advertising when they were worrying about the product. I think if we want to address kids' use, we have to say, if you're going to reformulate, rechange the product, then tell us what you're doing with it. Why are you adding these sugars? Why are you affecting nicotine yield? And just to sit back and say, go ahead and have our children with your product and ban advertising is just a flawed public health strategy.
Senator Coburn.